Hello everyone. So in this presentation we'll understand how you can create an effective user story and how to estimate them. So basically we'll understand what is a user story, what is a user story format, the importance of user story, how to write good user story, how do you estimate it, story point versus hours. Now, first, why do you need user story? So, a very crucial part when a group of people are working together is that they need to have an effective communication and avoid any miscommunication in order to get the best output, and that is where a story helps. That is, it avoid miscommunication in a team. So, majorly you can divide user story into 3 C's. The first C is the card. So what is a card? It is the topic of the backlog item, which is the high level description of the desired system behavior. The conversation. The conversation, you can say, this captures the detailed requirements. And how do you get the detailed requirement? By conversating with the product owner and with the team. Then the confirmation. Once you have the requirement and high level description, you have to mention the acceptance criteria. So acceptance criteria is one that ensures that the backlog item was completed to the specification of the product owner. The customer will evaluate the completed backlog item against the acceptance criteria. If all the test passes, then you approve the backlog item by the end of the sprint. Now, how do you create a user story title? Very important. This is the standard format that you should follow whenever you are writing the title of the story, which is as a type of actor. So type of actor is the person for who is going to use the features. For example, if a site administrator is going to use it, you will say as a site administrator, I want to be able to edit the home page. Edit the home page means what I'm expecting to do so that reason for doing means so that I can update the marketing promotions. So in this way, if you write, it tells you who is going to use the feature, what he's trying to do and why he's trying to do. Now, how do you write a good story, a good user story? So first, the important things that a user story should cover. First is it should be independent. That means it should be an independent feature on its own. It should be incremental and iterative. Second, negotiable. So when you are writing a user story, that doesn't mean that it cannot change. So it's not like a contract and it's open for negotiation and further discussion. And based on those discussions, the requirements get changed. And it doesn't have any implementation details. It has only the requirement details. Then the very important question that you should ask when you're writing a story is the value, that whether this story is giving any value to your customer. The next thing is estimate. So there are multiple ways in which you can estimate the user story, which are story point, power of 2, Fibonacci series, t-shirt sizing. But the most effective and the recommended one is the story points. So story points, it quantify the difficulty, not the time. So we'll understand more what is story points and how you can give a story point. It should be small. So if it is too big to be done in a sprint, then you should split it. If it is too small, then maybe it's not a story because it has to be an independent feature of its own. And every story should be testable. Now, why do we write a story? So you write a story because they are understandable. Stories are right size of planning, support and encourage iterative development, support participative approach because the complete team is included, provide context, focus on delivering value, easily prioritizable and also reprioritizable. So this is one of the example of a already written story. The tool that we have used is Jira. So as you can see, that first is the title. As a product engineer, I should be able to configure the framework service, develop predictive analysis for streaming mobile devices through analytics models, and the results will be published to the mobile devices during runtime. So this captures the high level description of what this story is going to deliver at the end. Then there are multiple things, like at the below you can see that the description is provided. It should be the detailed description which tells the complete requirement. Then you have the verification criteria. Verification criteria is similar to acceptance criteria, that if all these points are done in a story, that means the story will be accepted by the customer. And then you have the story point also mentioned. Now, the next important thing when you are creating a user story is to do effective estimations. So there are two ways how you can estimate. One is story point and another is hours. So what is story point? A story point is a high level estimation of complexity which is involved in the user story. So for example, if I say if my user story value is 1, that is not defining the number of hours or the number of days. It is defining the complexity level. So generally we define the complexity level from 1 to 8. So if it is 8, that means it is highly complex and it's going to take more time. If it is 1, that means it can be easily done. Story point is generally done before sprint planning, during release planning, or at a pre-planning phase. Now the next is hours. So hours, this is more like a low level estimation which is used to represent the actual effort in man hours needed to complete all the tasks involved. And this is done when you are defining the task. So what happens is that you create the high level stories, you estimate them based on the complexity using story points, and then you divide them into tasks, and those tasks you assign to your development team members and they estimate it on hourly basis. So this was pretty much about story points, how you create stories, how you estimate them, and in the next presentation we'll try to understand that how these user stories are used as part of Scrum. Thank you.